A lot of things to talk about today. First of all, on Saturday, I'm sitting in the living room with my wife, and she gets a phone call that she doesn't recognize on her phone. And I'm sure, as most of you do, we don't answer those phone calls. Well, sometimes I do because I like to play with the people on the other line. I figured if they're going to bother me, I might as well bother them too. But my wife wants no part of it. So she doesn't answer the phone call, and then she gets a voicemail. And the voicemail is transcribed on her phone as it is, and I'm going to play the voicemail for you right now. This is 100% real.
Hello, this is Lieutenant Alex Hardick. I'm with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department. I'm trying to locate Amanda Calta in regards to an urgent legal matter. Contact me as soon as you get this message on my field service device. That number is 813-556-5323. Once again, it's 813-556-5323. This is not an emergency call, however, it is urgent. You contact me as soon as possible. Lieutenant Alex Hardick, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department.
So she gets that, and she looks at the transcript, and she goes, "It's a lieutenant from the sheriff's office?" And I go, okay. So right away, for them calling Amanda, I fear that it's something to do with my son. And while I think that kid's an angel, I don't want to find out from a cop he's not, I don't want to find out, hey, we got a security camera, and it showed your son slamming into somebody else's car and kept going last night. The last thing I want. So I'm not panicked by any means, but I am definitely a little bit concerned. So I immediately call the guy back on her phone. I have her phone in hand. I call back. So he answers the phone, Lieutenant whatever. Whenever I go, "Hi, my name is Mike Calta. You just called and left a message for my wife." And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, I'm calling back to, well, is she available?" And she's sitting right next to me. And I go, "She's not right now, but, well, I go, hey, look, I got a teenage son. I just want to make sure everything's okay." And he goes, "Yeah, no, nobody's hurt or anything like that." I go, "Okay." He goes, "I need to speak to her, but it's a matter that I can't speak to anybody else but her, and this, that, and the other thing." And I'm like, okay, so now she's here. And I'm like, well, hold on, I'll go get her. So I do the fake wait 2 seconds and hand it. Yeah.
Did you go, hello?
I've done that before. When they're foreign people and they're like, no, I only speak to Amanda. I go, oh, hold on.
Hello. This is Amanda.
Amanda Doubtfire.
Hello. So I give Amanda the phone, and she's got it on speakerphone. And he says to her, "Am I speaking to you alone, out of earshot of anybody else around you?" Because he knows that I am involved now. And she said, "No, I'm alone." And he says, "You were subpoenaed to be an expert witness in a case." And then she got up and walked away. Because my wife is a therapist, and she does have things that I am not privy to. She never discusses her work with me, any of that stuff. And she was a counselor for an at-risk girls' school, and now she is a therapist with patients that she has. So she leaves the room, and I don't know what's going on. So she comes back 5 minutes later, and she sits down, and she's like, "There is a warrant for my arrest." And I go, "For what?" And she said, "Evidently, I was subpoenaed to appear in court yesterday or Friday or whatever it was, and I didn't show up, so now they've issued a warrant for my arrest." And I go, "What do you have to do?" And she goes, "I don't know. The guy was explaining it to me, and then the call went dead." And then he calls back, and she takes the phone, and she goes inside. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So she comes back in the room, and I go, ask him where they delivered it and when the date was. And she goes, where did the subpoena come? And the guy reads my address, and then he says, in Lutz, Florida. And I go, Lutz, huh, Sheriff?
Yeah.
Hillsborough County Sheriff that can't say Lutz.
Right.
Lutz is one of the biggest mistakes for people who come in from out of town.
I was so hoping he said I handed it to a wizard-looking old man out in the front driveway, and he assured me he would deliver it immediately.
Well, Gio, as you know, I have every ounce of this house under surveillance at all times.
Yeah.
My poor kids could never sneak out of the house. By the way, if they are sneaking out of the house, I'd be very proud of them. Yeah. I would be I'd be like, Joey, you got some ninja skills.
You are a spy.
Yeah. But I go, find out who signed for it and the date and time, and I will pull up the video camera and tell exactly what it is. So she said it was December I don't remember the date. 26th. No, that's December 16th. And I signed for it. She said she signed for it. She was saying that it has her signature on it. And I looked at my calendar. I go, you were in New Jersey. And she goes, oh, yeah. And she gets on and she goes, I couldn't have signed for this. I had a family death and I had to go to a funeral in New Jersey. And the guy's like, well, and they're talking. So she comes back and she goes, he said that there isn't a warrant for my arrest and that I have to, I have to deal with this now or else I'm going to end up going to jail.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Don't you immediately Google that number?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
And did it come up as a...
No, it didn't come up as anything, but it is a police officer's
Direct
cell
line.
phone, so they're not going to be.
No, yeah, okay. But
it doesn't come up as anything.
All right.
At some point, I imagine they're going to ask for money to make this go away.
Well, we didn't get to that point.
Yeah.
So the guy sounds, you heard his voice. He sounds very much like a police officer till he said Lutz. So I look at her and she looks at me and I go,
He did hit you with the call me back on my field device.
right.
Yeah, that was pretty
he
good.
knew what to say.
Field device.
Yeah.
So I call him back again and I go, yeah, you just talked to my wife and said she got it. And he goes, like, yeah. I go, all right, well, I'm just going to bring it down to the station. And he's like, what? And I go, we're just going to go down to the station. I got this. I'll handle this. And he hangs up on me. And I was like, done.
Love it.
This happened to a coworker of mine at my other
That's
job.
why I'm talking about it today,
Yeah.
because he was very real for a couple of minutes. So then I called Dom, and I'm like, Dom, I know Boozer's probably got hockey right now, but can I run this past you? And I told Dom, and Dom's like, congratulations, you just got scammed. And I go, well, we didn't quite get scammed. We got a little bit concerned, but we did not get scammed. We did not give it. And he's like, yeah. He goes, if you don't show up for a subpoena, they don't issue an arrest warrant. They issue an inquiry as to why you weren't there. He goes, what if you fell and got in a car accident on the way there and had to go to the hospital? And they got to find out why you didn't go, and then they would try to, if you refused to show up, then that's where they would get you. So thankfully, they didn't. Nothing happened. And once I talked to Dom, and I got word from Dom that it was definitely a scam, it confirmed my suspicions when he didn't say Lutz. So I call him back 8,000 times that day.
Yeah.
I call him back, and my wife's like, please stop this. And I go, I got to go to Starbucks anyway. I'll just do it in the car. So I'm driving to Starbucks, and he answers it, and he goes, Lieutenant, whatever. Hey, Lieutenant. And he goes, yes. And I go, who is your sheriff? And he goes, Chad. And I go, yeah, Chad. I go, what's his last name? And he's like, I go, it's Chronister Jerkoff. And he hangs up on me.
Yep.
And then I called him back again, and I was like, you want some advice? He's like, what? And I go, know how to say the city name before you call. You lost me at Lutz. And he hung up on me again. And then I called him.
Give him help. What is
What? Oh, Carmen. Then I called him back again right after he hung up on me. Boop, boop, boop. The number you have reached, he's disassembled the number. So it's probably one of those fake Google phone numbers. That's why it doesn't come up. And
I'm
he
very
shut it
familiar
down.
with those numbers.
The woman I work with, she was the same exact thing. It got to the point where they said there is a law enforcement in the area, and they should be coming to get you shortly at USF.
But what did they want? We didn't get to that
The
point.
same thing, though. They said that she had missed a court date, and she had an arrest warrant out for her arrest, and then they wanted money. They said that she could either pay the fine or law enforcement was in the area. They would come get her
It's a good
this
scam.
afternoon.